Qualifying for the 2025 Italian Grand Prix in Monza just took place. This is the starting grid, provisional starting grid for tomorrow's main race. Let's go through the performance of each of the 20 drivers, and at the end of this video we're going to do some predictions for the top 10 finishers of tomorrow's race. Starting with Isaac Hadjar. First thing I want to say is that Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, I predicted it. I predicted that these guys won't be scoring any points, and looks like it. Now, obviously, in Monza, crazy things, everything can happen. He will be starting from the pit lane because he is taking in a new power unit. And Liam Lawson is just generally shit at qualifying. So, Racing Bulls have kind of fucked them in the ass, with Isaac Hadjar damaging the floor of his car in first practice 1. And that's not a good look because that was a new floor. So he damaged the floor, he had a bunch of off-track excursions, and obviously he damaged the car enough, and now he has to start from the pit lane, which is damage limitation, everything they can do. And one of the key things about starting from the back of the grid is that you have everything to gain, right? You cannot lose anything more than that. That's the beauty of starting from rock bottom. It is what it is. And Liam Lawson is, just generally shit at qualifying, and he said it himself during the summer break, or when returning from the summer break. He was asked, what is the thing that you would want to improve upon your return? And he said that qualifying in general, if I had to pick one thing. Gotta love the honesty. The race pace is there from the get-go. His super sub debut in Zandvoort in 2023, where Daniel Ricciardo broke his wrist, was very interesting to see. But at the same time, since then, he has struggled to hook a lap in qualifying when it matters the most, especially in 2025 season, because the grid is so closely packed up. Up next, so right now, because of the proximity of the team members, I'm going to go team by team for these two guys, and then we will see what we can do. Also for Williams, we can do collaboratively as the team. So when you look at the timestamps below, don't get confused. So anyway, let's talk about Alpine right now. There's really nothing much to say other than the fact that I'm happy with Franco Colapinto's performance these days. He seems to have closed the gap in qualifying to Pierre Gasly. The stability is paying off, and Pierre Gasly is the Max Verstappen of this team, and right now in Monza, a power circuit where you need a good engine and good straight line speed, something that the Alpine doesn't have. In general, their engine is like 60 horsepower less, producing 60 horsepower less compared to the other engines, like say the Mercedes engine. So they are already underpowered from the start, and obviously their car's technology is trash because the good engineers are probably not coming into this company because there is no stability. But I think, at least from the driver's standpoint, looking at the Franco Colapinto's qualifying performance in since the last couple of races, really, it's actually looking good for Alpine. I think they're set up good, or putting in the right foundations for 2026 and beyond. So hopefully Franco Colapinto stays. Up next, we have Lance Stroll. Very impressive performance as usual by Lance Stroll. Don't be surprised if he scores some points tomorrow from P16, because that's what happened in Zandvoort. In the Dutch Grand Prix, he was P19, knocked out in Q1, and he scored some points on Sunday's main race. Lance Stroll deliberately gets himself out early in qualifying to give the other mortals a chance at going ahead and securing some glory for themselves and their team. He likes to, just go for a leisurely Sunday stroll and casually go ahead and pick up some points. That's what's going to happen. Esteban Ocon, as much as I hate this guy, you kind of have to feel a little bit bad for him. I don't. I find it funny. But some of you guys might feel bad for Esteban Ocon because he was really screwed in the traffic, I guess, really. The traffic of the qualifying sessions in general. And whenever he would enter the track, it would be in a very terrible time. Some people have gone off. There's gravel around the Ascari chicane or whatever that is. And is just horrible for him because he also had, I think it was Carlos Sainz or Nico Hulkenberg's dirty air throughout through some chicane. He had to endure some traffic. So and also in some other run, the tire preparation was not up to his liking. So like that fucked him a little bit too. So just overall unlucky for Esteban Ocon, and this has been the story of the season in qualifying. Oliver Bearman mostly is a beast on races and also in qualifying. He went from pit lane to P6 in the Dutch Grand Prix. He drove those hard tires for like 50 laps, first stint, mega stint, and then after that he just made the right calls at the right time and made the right moves and finished P6. Legendary. This is championship level driving. I can say for certainty, I guess we're talking about Oliver Bearman now. I can say with certainty that Oliver Bearman is going to become a world champion in the future. You will not say that thing about, the same thing about Yuki Tsunoda or even Lando Norris, because if you look at their highlight reels and you look at the highlight reels of Bearman, half beer, half man, I'm a fan of this guy. If any of you are not a fan of Oliver Bearman right now, like, we're not watching the same stuff. So Oliver Bearman, legendary qualifying once again, very, very likely to go ahead and score some freaking points. Yuki Tsunoda doesn't belong in the top 10. Lewis Hamilton has good pace, but we will see how he defends, how he gets past Fernando Alonso, because this is going to be the most difficult move for Lewis Hamilton if he has the pace to go through the field. And I think he does have the pace to go through the field. Lewis Hamilton, I guess we're talking about Lewis Hamilton. No, I'm not going to do that. So anyway, Oliver Bearman did a great job, and he's going to go ahead and score some points, potentially replacing Yuki Tsunoda in the top 10 classification. We will talk about the predictions when we will talk about the predictions. Then we will talk about Williams drivers. This is a little bit sad and miserable because they looked like they had good pace in FP3 as well. Let me go ahead and pull up the FP3 standings. So in FP3, Alexander Albon was P10, and he was 3/10 of the pole position person. Okay, so like if you consider that as the benchmark, then these guys had a really, really horrible qualifying session because they're way too far off the pole position. The good news is that both Carlos Sainz and Alexander Albon are making the most out of the car, considering how close they're in the time. So I guess in terms of consistency and driver reliability, they have got everything sorted out. The interesting thing is that they definitely do have some pace, but Nico Hulkenberg can be a bitch, and then ahead of him is Oliver Bearman. So I'm just looking at the lineup ahead of them, and then I'm visualizing how likely these two guys are making all the way into the points, even though they have a little bit of pace. But if they're stuck in a DRS turn, then it's over. So I still cannot decisively say that both of the Williams are going to be in points. Maybe one of them will with the lucky strategy, but they're around this, Lance Stroll is right behind them, like he can easily have a good start and then things could get ugly is what I'm trying to say. So I still don't think either of the Williams are going to score points. Happy to be proven wrong, but I don't give a shit about them. They have been screwing up way too much. There's always something that fucks with them. It's the wind, it's the gravel, it's the, you know what I mean? Like they're way too unlucky for me to go ahead and give an analysis about them because it simply doesn't matter. And this qualifying result of P13 and P14 of Alex and Carlos is the proof of that. It is the proof that regardless of how good their car performs at a particular track, they're still gonna be shit because they usually get unlucky. Traffic or dirty track or turbulent air, bad tire preparation time, whatever the fuck it is. We move on. Nico Hulkenberg. As usual, he is behind Gabriel Bortoleto in qualifying, and which means he has to do it all on Sunday, and on a power circuit like Monza, even though you have a Ferrari engine. You know what? I actually do like their chances a little bit. because Nico Hulkenberg is good at executing the races and making decisions for himself, and he has that wisdom. So I do like his chances, but again, he has to fight tooth and nail. Like, I'm discounting Yuki Tsunoda entirely because his racecraft is shit. If he has to fight hard with any of the people around him, it's very likely that he's gonna make a collision with them. Like, he usually does that. It's a lot of people talk about Verstappen as the crash tappen, but Yuki Tsunoda is also very difficult to battle with because of the crashing tendencies. So Nico Hulkenberg, even though he has a few advantages up his sleeve and the car has pace, it still looks very difficult considering the pack around him, and considering I already picked Oliver Bearman, so I ain't backing down. I'm a little bit biased. If I had to choose between these two motherfuckers, between a guy who is a beast and someone who has forgot to qualify in the 2025 Formula 1 season, I'm gonna pick the beast. So Nico Hulkenberg ain't finishing in the points. I just realized that we're making the predictions as we go along. Anyway, we move on. Sir Lewis Hamilton P10, not bad. Really not bad, because he was, I think, like a little behind Charles Leclerc. Charles is 119.0 and Lewis Hamilton is 119.1. So he is within like 10th and a bit of Charles Leclerc. So things are looking good in the Hamilton side of the garage. He has closed the gap. There is no one between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Like in the last couple of races, if you really look at it, like he has brought that gap very closer. Earlier, the gap used to be big because in the 2025 Hungarian Grand Prix, Leclerc was in pole and Lewis Hamilton was P12. So it was horrible, not looking good at all. But right now, whatever happened in the summer, like he recharged, he focused, he's like, I'm here to enjoy racing, and now, the old Hamilton is coming back. Within a 10th of Charles Leclerc, get ready for some sick Lewis Hamilton overtakes tomorrow in the 2025 Monza Grand Prix, because they're coming. And I am very excited about the battle between Lewis and Alonso. That's gonna happen. So that's my prediction as well. So I'm not only predicting how people are gonna fare, in the checkered flag, after the checkered flag, I'm also saying what entertainment we can look forward to in tomorrow's main race. So Lewis Hamilton versus Fernando Alonso battle will be there. I don't give a fuck who wins, because both of them are going to score some points. Gabriel Bortoleto is going to be benefited by some chaos around him, but eventually he will have to fight legends. That's what's going to be interesting to see. And again, I'm getting sidetracked a little bit. Lewis Hamilton, going to finish in the points, will have a battle with Fernando Alonso. Yuki Tsunoda will drop like a stone, so there's nothing much to say about it. And Max Verstappen on pole position, Yuki Tsunoda a lot behind. He had some battery issues. He is around 7 to 8 tenths off of Verstappen's time. Really, really terrible if you ask me. But he had some battery issues. I don't know what Red Bull will change or fix overnight in order to make that issue go away. But we didn't get a representative time of Yuki Tsunoda. I mean, he went to Q3, so that's a positive news. But in terms of reliability, we can go ahead and see it in the FP3 times. Where is Yuki? So Max Verstappen is P4 in FP3. What about, oh my days, he is P15. He's 7 tenths off of pole position. Verstappen is a 10th off. So he is 6 tenths behind Max Verstappen. I mean, so this is representative if you think about it, because with battery issue he is 8 tenths off, and here he is 6 tenths off Max Verstappen. So it's almost like 7 tenths is the sweet spot. So this is a representative time. Even if the car did not have any battery issue, he would be P9, is what I'm saying. So big thanks to Lewis Hamilton for not making Yuki Tsunoda P10 on tomorrow's grid, but it is what it is. I'm not sure he is going to hold this position, because there's going to be a lot of fighters around him, and I don't think he survives it. We move on. Fernando Alonso magic. Fernando Alonso is P8. Lance Stroll is P16. How does he do that? So for a second there, it looked like Fernando will be on the front row, or at least on the second row. Don't tell me you didn't think it. I was getting excited. If like I was just imagining, okay, that Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, then Charles Leclerc, and then Oscar Piastri P4, and then after that, I like it just doesn't matter. I want the battle of these four people. So I guess Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri should switch places, and instead of Lando, there will be Fernando Alonso. That'll be my dream start for tomorrow. So I was just thinking maybe it would be possible because Fernando was showing some good pace, but in Q3 final run, everybody just found not final run. The first run in Q3 was better for everybody. I think only Max Verstappen and Lando Norris improved in the second run. That was a phenomenal lap. So we will talk about it when we'll talk about it. So either way, Fernando Alonso, good pace, maybe a P7, but I don't think he goes beyond P7. Like just in terms of race pace, he is not going to have that. Maybe he will be pipped by Lewis Hamilton somewhere in the race. Like I mentioned, there's a battle brewing between Alonso and Hamilton in 2025 Monza. It's going to be a classic. Everybody is evenly matched. Monza always, as always, it delivers. Hopefully, we don't get that replaced with some dumb low IQ street circuit in the future, because that would be a shame, you know. We move on. Gabriel Bortoleto. This kid continues to impress. So of all of the rookies, so there is obviously a tier list of who is performing how. And Gabriel Bortoleto, initially he was nowhere, you know, we didn't really talk about him. His only highlight was Saturdays. But on Sundays, he is proving himself to be solid. Especially in Hungaroring, his drive is good. Now I'm excited to see if this guy can bring in some points, because he hasn't been consistently bringing in some points like Oliver Bearman. Because this guy, he brings in points from bumfuck nowhere. 2 times in his debut season, he has scored points by starting from the back of the grid. In Bahrain, he started from P20 and finished P10. In Zandvoort, he started from the pit lane and finished P6. That's twice championship level shit. I want to see that type of performance from Gabriel Bortoleto. I think he has it in him. His racecraft is good in terms of attacking the car ahead. He can be a little bit more crafty, but in terms of defense and holding his ground, he is very good. In Hungaroring, he defended against Max Verstappen on fresher hot tires. So that is not nothing. And I'm pretty sure if push comes to shove, he will be able, like if his car is not too shabby, I'm pretty sure he can defend against Fernando Alonso. Color me crazy. He is going to be able to only go forward, but what I really wanted was a battle between Bortoleto and Antonelli, because both of them are rookies, but that's not going to happen. I think there will be a huge gap from Gabriel Bortoleto, so he will have a lot of pressure on his shoulders because he will be leading his own mini race, and that's a new test for this guy. We will see how that pans out for Gabby. I'm excited for this guy. Up next, we have the Mercedes pair, George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. So we will talk about Kimi first. So I talked a lot of shit leading up to the qualifying session about Kimi Antonelli with respect to other rookies and, you know, his driving abilities in general. My argument was, if you look at other drivers like Gabriel and Isaac Hadjar, for example, and Oliver Bearman, my favorite rookie, he's the best. If you look at their performances, they have performed far better as compared to Kimi Antonelli, and who had a lot of hype behind him. If there is one driver who hasn't lived up to hype, it's Kimi Antonelli. If you look at the races that have transpired so far in the 2025 Formula 1 season, Kimi Antonelli's performance is kind of subpar at best. You cannot deny that. Yes, there have been good spots of sunshine, but overall he has been meh, you know what I mean? And I'm not shitting on the guy, I'm just saying it as it is. He's too young. I think Toto Wolff got a little bit too greedy. He has put him in Formula 1 I think too early. I think he could have eased into it a little bit, but I guess there's no way to do that really. So he's in F1. I think the remainder of the season he needs to just focus on getting used to the pace of the sport and the complexity of the sport. And the pace is there and it will come naturally. And this pressure has made Kimi Antonelli, the hyped kid, look overhyped, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like, the lot of pressure on his young shoulders, he's still giving high school examinations, and now you put him in Formula 1 in a top team. So it's a little bit difficult, and that is one of the main reasons why he was having such a bad run of races. But fortunately, after a difficult Dutch Grand Prix, actually he was doing well in Dutch Grand Prix until that moment, where he collided with Charles Leclerc, which could again happen tomorrow in Monza. Because Monza is his Kimi Antonelli's home Grand Prix and he will be feisty. Mercedes have already cleared that both of their drivers are terrorists. So, like Toto Wolff literally said this. He said that we want Kimi Antonelli to go for moves, risky moves. Otherwise, he is not a racing driver. And George Russell already, like the rest of the grid turns into George Russell. Including the walls and the trees and the gravel traps, everything just turns into George Russell's Mercedes. And right now, Andrea Kimi Antonelli is having the same tendencies. So one of the amazing things is that these two guys, I've also said this before about the championship battle between Piastri and Norris, is that George Russell, Max Verstappen, and now Kimi Antonelli. Earlier, I only used to say George Russell and Max Verstappen, but now it's both of the Mercedes pair and Max Verstappen will play a role in determining the championship battle between Norris and Piastri, because they'll just get in the way. And these motherfuckers will not only just get in the way, but they will also take you out. So yeah, great job by the Mercedes pair. And if I don't think they particularly have the pace of the guys ahead. Max Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, all these guys, Verstappen is feeling comfortable in the car. He's not as quick as the McLarens in terms of race pace. Ferrari is also very quick at the race pace. So we will see. I'm excited how quickly Lewis Hamilton can make through the field. But Mercedes pair overall will have their lonely race, P5 and P6. Maybe these guys will battle with one another. We will see. If both of these guys battle and take each other out, it'll be the funniest shit ever. I hope it happens. I hope it happens and some unexpected guys go ahead and get into some points. Maybe for Franco Colapinto, who knows, he has been through enough, but he's not going to score any points. Anyway, the Mercedes pair will have a lonely race in tomorrow's main Grand Prix. Then comes the top four. Okay? Now I'm just realizing that how I would put timestamps at the bottom, like in the description of this video. I guess I'll just put the top four. Front two rows, Verstappen, Lando, Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc, because I will not only comment on their performances right now, but also discuss how the things will happen in the race. So the race begins. Okay, Max Verstappen, superhuman pole position, broke the record of Lewis Hamilton. Nobody expected it, and that's the beauty of it. And I said it, when push comes to shove, when it comes that who has the biggest balls, Verstappen is gonna win. These two guys, and I said this after the qualifying session in Japanese Grand Prix also, 2025, where Max Verstappen had a phenomenal pole. So what happens is, every car is the fastest when it's unstable, but nobody likes it when it's unstable except for Max Verstappen. So Max Verstappen doesn't give a shit if the car is comfortable to drive or uncomfortable or risky or whatever. He just drives it in a setup in which the car is the fastest. These two guys are, a bunch of pussies. That's why they won't do it. That's why they are not doing it. Charles Leclerc a little bit does it with his driving style. He is dope. That's why we like him. All of the risky overtaking maneuvers and fantastic pole positions come from Charles Leclerc as well. 27 pole positions, but like I think like 7 wins from those pole positions, some shit like that, some horrible pole to win conversion statistic, but still like has more cojones compared to these two guys. Oscar Piastri is getting there. In China, he did that. Like he had an amazing, he just sent it in the hairpin. Lando Norris too much of busy. Max Verstappen is the best of everyone in just sending the car and seeing what happens. If I lose it and end up in the barriers, who gives a shit? I'm not fighting for the world championship anyway. Like that's the mentality that makes him the greatest of all time. He is going to go to places where you are afraid to, and that's where he gains the advantage. And today's qualifying session, like plenty of other qualifying sessions in the history of the sport, prove the mental tenacity and rigidity of Max Verstappen. Anyway, so Max Verstappen will have a good launch off the line. Lando Norris will probably lose a position, not immediately, but around the chicane. The first chicane or the second chicane, because that's where Oscar Piastri had that sick move in the 2024 Formula 1 season. History is going to repeat itself. We will see what happens. And then Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc will have some interesting battles. And from then, it's a little bit hard to predict. I want Charles to get on the podium, but it looks difficult that the Ferrari can beat and overtake the McLaren in the race pace, because Norris is gonna get better and better as the race progresses. That's one of his strengths. We all like to shit on Norris, but not a lot of people talk about his strengths. And his biggest strength is that, like, if let's say is the last 20 laps of a race and Norris is leading, then Norris is gonna win. It's impossible that Norris will make a mistake that late in a race. Canada, I know that Canada was kind of like an exception where he fucked up and he admitted it, but as the races go along and he's leading, I said, he just becomes unbeatable. He finds that perfect lap, like the racing line around the circuit, and he hits it like amazingly accurately lap after lap after lap. And then it becomes impossible to overtake him. Ask Oscar Piastri. He has tried for 20 laps in Austria, and that was at the beginning of the race. So towards the end, he definitely had zero chance. The same thing happened in Hungaroring. Piastri was attacking Lando with fresher tires. He was, he made that one-stop strategy work, and he just found that perfect racing line. And Hungaroring is a mathematical track, right? It's Monaco without walls. So there, he just hit it perfectly. But at the race start, he is shit. So he's going to lose a position to Oscar Piastri. Then Leclerc will go ahead and put some pressure on Norris, and they'll have a battle of some sort. And Oscar Piastri, lonely P2, Lando Norris, probably P3. I don't think Norris does anything different, such as a risky strategy. Like, let's say Oscar Piastri is on a one-stop. He won't go for a, rapid two-stop strategy where he's just doing the entire race, like, with qualifying mindset. Every lap is a qualifying lap. He's not going to go ahead and do that. So Lando Norris will finish behind Oscar Piastri and lose some championship points in the overall standings. And Oscar knows it. After the qualifying session, Nico Rosberg was doing the post-qualifying interviews, and he asked Oscar Piastri, you have a 34-point lead. Are you kind of like chilling in your head right now? And Oscar, initially he tried to dance around the answer, around the question. But then he answered honestly. He said that, yes, right now I'm starting to think a little bit that, okay, I just need to just manage the gap to Lando. And that's exactly what has happened. Like, if these guys finished P2 and P3 this way, then it's amazing for Oscar Piastri, because, if Lando had won and he was P2, he would have lost 7 points to Lando, but now this way he's only going to lose 3 points, which is, whatever. He can afford to lose 3 points. There are 9 more races to go, including tomorrow's 2025 Monza Grand Prix. And 3 points per race is still 27, healthy lead, and he's definitely going to win 1 or 2. By default, he knows that. Right now, as a game of probability, 9 races remaining, the chances are that Oscar will win more races than Lando is actually high. We have seen this. Oscar pulled off a hat trick early on in the season, and he's on hat trick again. No, not really. He just won in Zandvoort. Okay, anyway, we'll see. He can win tomorrow's Grand Prix, but it depends on the race start. Verstappen and Piastri are going to have a good start, but if Oscar has too good of a race start at the initial part of the launch, then it's going to backfire him when they are going to the chicane because Norris can squeeze him. But then Oscar can push him wide. But we will see about that. Now coming to the main race predictions, we have to go quickly through everything. I predicted an Oscar Piastri win and I can still see this happen. So Oscar Piastri wins. The power just went off, so I'm just gonna record this and then I will edit the video later. Anyway, quickly, we're running out of time. Max Verstappen wins. Oscar Piastri wins. Lando Norris P2, Max Verstappen P3, Charles Leclerc P4. Then I would say go ahead, put Lewis Hamilton in. Then the 2 Mercedes, and then these guys, except for Yuki Tsunoda, kick him out, and Oliver Bearman up in the points. That's what's gonna happen. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.